Hey everyone, this is Shannon Harris from Urbanicity Recordings and Audio Pharmacology. Today, I'm here giving a workshop with the Live PA Workshop series. What I'm going to be showing and demonstrating in this video is how to use live instruments along with electronic instruments. These different processes, a live process, an electronic process, will accompany each other in a performance. So what I have in front of me is a Pioneer DJ X DJ RX2. I'll be using this as a mixer, a routing system, and an effects processor. To my left, I have two iPads. I'll be using this as synthesizers and beat machines. Then further to the left, I have a Mackie 1202 where I'm doing my routing for all my microphones and some special effects and one of the iPads. And for the special effects, I'm using a space effect, which is right here, and I'm also using a pedal to go along with that. Then on the floor to my right, I have a Jam Man by Digitech. It's a looper. And my far right is a didgeridoo from Australia. So, let's get started. I'm always asked the question, how do I come up with a production or a particular song, or when I'm doing remixes, how do I envision the process? And I don't really go into the studio and tinker around. Usually I'm shown a vision, an image. So since I have synesthesia, most of the visions are sacred geometry shapes, colors, sounds, vibrations, and energy. So what we're going to be doing today is taking what's called sound energy in physics and manipulating it with effects processors, with rhythm. And I'm going to also demonstrate how taking a pure sound and processing it can be included into a performance and enhance the experience of the sound. Okay. All right, so I forgot a shaker as well. All right, so what I did is I already had looped a shaker pattern into the looper. So what you hear is I just took out the tambourine. And that was the metronome. So the first thing is to find your rhythm. Now in sound and rhythm, you can double time. It's all mathematics. So it's multiplication and division. So the rhythm is actually, but as I'm playing it, so the reason I'm saying that is, as we get into effects, think of how an effect can affect that process. So we're going to tap in to that rhythm. Here we go. So that effect is on the one beat. Woo! All right. And you see, now check this out. We're gonna go to a half of the beat with the effect. Now you see, when you're doing effects like that, you have to make sure, you see it's a little bit too much, turn it down, and what I'm going to do is continue to tap that in. We're going to tighten it up. So now it's giving it a swing. See? Da-da-da, da-da-da. Okay, let's take it out. One beat. Okay. Now we're going to go back to the effect. Now let's try a 3/4 rhythm. So what I like to do is is use the effect to enhance the rhythm, and then I play on top of that. So I'm going to do something simple, and we're going to allow the effect to create the melody and the percussive nature of the composition. Now without the effect, now, the effect is not completely, well, the rhythm is a little, it has a little swing to it. Like that. So I'm going to add the didgeridoo. All right, so we're gonna tap it in. You see how I took what I looped and I'm creating more rhythmic, percussive nature, more emotion from adding different types of effects to it. So it enhances the groove. So let's experiment. Let's do a half. Take the effect out. All right, so that's a half beat on the effect. So it swings the rhythm differently how it hits it. So instead of being dead on, it's half of that. It's a half beat rather. So let's add more to this. What you want to do also is when you're creating a groove and you're using instruments, you want to figure out what key some of the instruments are in. So the didgeridoo is in C. So if I was to put anything with this didgeridoo, I want to choose the same key. So here's a guitar. So let's see. So I'm going to stop it right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a fifth of the C. Which is G to C, then back to C. So I'm going to undo that tape. And usually when you get into a rhythm, I'm layering another synth on top of it. I'm going to take that out. Now we go. now what I'm doing is looking for sound, a drum kick. Now we're adding emotion to it. So we're adding another harmony. So what I have some rings for percussion, so I'm going to add some more of that on. So what's interesting about this loop, there's a drop in that note. It's not right on the one, right there. See? Let's see how like a performance would sound from using more effect processing with the voice and the body. So now what I'm going to do is use the effects to affect this. Check this out. What I'm going to use is some oscillation.
Welcome to the afterlife. This is Shannon Harris, and I am your astral travel guide, assisting you on your journey to the next dimension. Are you ready? Close your eyes. Begin to feel the rhythm inside your body, your soul, and your mind. Are you with me? Let me hear you holler. Stop.
So what I just demonstrated was taking a sound from a synthesizer, putting it through the effects processor of the Pioneer DJ, and creating a whole new structure, a new soundscape from it. It was sound designing a sound into a different sound, and then on top of that, using the oscillation to create different types of patterns. So the arpeggiation, when I'm adding an effect to that, so you begin to shape and mold sounds into a whole different, what do I want to say, imaginatory or imaginary, let me say that, a whole different imaginary soundscape. It makes the sound and the rhythm take off. It's like taking flight when you're using these effects. So what's very interesting is how electronics, once it gets into the algorithm, it actually bends time. So now the human body is trying to keep up with it as I'm creating oscillation patterns with the knobs and with the oscillator with the touch screen. I'm not trying to keep up with it, I'm trying to become one with the effect. And that's what makes the performance go really well, is when you begin to put soul into the electronics, and the electronics give you back. And I know people are like, well, electronics don't have soul, but we're putting soul into the electronics as we're operating them. I know that's kind of hot, but so what I'm doing is tapping it in so it can be tighter. You hear it? I'm following that tambourine. Yeah, now we going. Yes. Now you see in an arrangement, I purposely did the slap real loud because I was expecting it to be something that I want to put a kind of a dub effect on it. So it's like boom, back. Now, the effect on the shaker, you see how it has a phalanging type of sound, a phalange type of sound? That is because I have the effect on it before recording it in. So this is an example of a pre-effect. So I can't change this. I can't take the effect off. It's going to just be like that. So what I did with the drum is there's a crescendo. As I move my hand up and come down. I just added a guido to that. All right, so what we're going to do is, let's see what it would sound like if the effect wasn't on the one beat. Now, this is going to be really experimental. So let's see what this sounds like. Let's experiment. Let's do it at 3/4. It's going to throw this rhythm. Now you have the drum and bass. Go! So what you want to do is also bring it down some. Every time I'm doing the rhythm and allowing it to bounce off the effect, if it gets too predictable, then it gets boring. So everyone knows I'm gonna, that slap, that I'm gonna use that as an accent to the emotion, to the drive. But sometimes I hit the effect before the clap. So, or the smack. So check out. See, right before it. So switching it up. And that's what allows the improvisation when it doesn't get too repetitive. We took instruments. We took a didgeridoo, we took a shaker, we took a lap drum, and we recorded it into the Jam Master Digitech loop pedal. So I did different ways of recording. So what we did was we did an After Effect. So we recorded the loop. Then I used the DJ system to process those sounds, and it processed them all together. Then Later on, I processed the shaker before it reached the DJ system. So it was processed, pre-processing of the sound that can't be changed, and it's its own thing. I added texture to the specific sound versus adding texture to the whole program. So you want to decide if you want to affect the whole mix or particular sounds. And that's what I showed you today. And then in doing that, the whole mix, I showed how you can take a simple rhythm, add effect processing to it, and switch the beats in between the rhythms. So we did a full beat, we did a 3/4 of a beat, and we did a half beat. And the 3/4 of a beat that you just heard allow that simple rhythm to become a drum and bass rhythm. So, I forgot. I also used the voice and used the processor to affect the voice. That was a key thing. So you don't have to go on stage or in the studio and sound the same all the time. So what that allowed me to do is, as I was playing the keyboard and I switched the octave of my voice, it took you into another zone. It was like another person was speaking outside of my body. So that is the benefit of electronics, and I encourage you in live performances to stretch out a bit, surprise people, experiment. You know, the first rhythm wasn't as tight as the second rhythm, but I was playing around and experimenting. Then it encouraged me to keep going, and then after that, you know, the second rhythm came about. And if I didn't switch the beat effect on the second rhythm, it would have been straight ahead. So those are the things you want to include into your productions, into your performances, is experimentation. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. I made several. Headphones came off while I was having a good time. You know, sometimes the mics weren't muted and I'm talking over them. But believe me, I performed all around the world. People don't know it's a mistake unless you make a big deal about it. Just keep going. Just keep going. So, thank you for joining me today. I'm Shannon Harris from Urbanicity and Audio Pharmacology. This is the live PA workshop series. Thanks to Brother L for having me. Thank you for joining, and see you soon. Take care. Woo!